Hi guys, Olive here today to show you some of the non-book things that I've been loving this spring. I have not done a favorites video since right after I started this channel. I always intended to do more, I just never got around to doing them. But since there have been a handful of things that have been really helping me get through this odd period of history, I thought I would share those with you. First and foremost, I have found myself doing a whole lot of extra hand washing these days, as I'm sure you have as well. I already washed my hands quite a bit. I do a lot of cooking, and when you're in the kitchen, you need to be washing your hands a lot because you're touching food. So more so than usual, my hands have been incredibly dry. My hands already tend to get really dry and crack in the winter time, particularly around my wrists. That's still been happening even though it's mid-May for two different reasons. Number one, it is still freezing cold here in Pittsburgh. I have no idea what's going on, but we still have the heat on, so it's really dry in here. And then with all the extra hand washing, my hands have just been in really rough shape. What I have been using to help me with that problem is Dream Cream by Lush. Now, I already use this stuff. I started using it back in 2017. I first heard about it on Sophie Carlin's channel. She was talking about it in one of her tattoo videos, but she uses this stuff to help heal her tattoos. And I had just gotten a tattoo at the time, so I ordered some of this, and I've been hooked on it ever since. It is made with calming oat milk, lavender, and chamomile to ease and cool easily irritated skin, and it definitely does that. I put some of this on my hands overnight, and I wake up with my hands more or less back to normal. I do have to warn you that this stuff is not cheap. It is painful every time I have to buy a new one of these. But it's justified in my mind because you don't need very much of it. You dip your finger in once and that's pretty much good for both of your hands. A little bit goes a long way. One of these would normally last me 5 or 6 months. This one will probably only last me 3 or 4 because I'm using it so much. Plus it smells just absolutely fantastic. Ugh. You know what else smells fantastic? North Avenue candles. I was just talking about this company in the reading room tour I just did. I actually had this specific one burning during that video. This is the lavender and lilac candle that was inspired by the color purple. This is a Pittsburgh-based company, so of course I have to shout it from the rooftops. I also happen to know the owner, Amanda. We had a very cute meeting at a library donor event. Not only are these amazing quality, they are clean burning, they smell fantastic, but she also bases the scents off of different books. Like I said, this one's based off of the color purple. In my most recent order, I also got this one. It's a spiced rum scent based off of Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I have not yet burned this one. I thought this one would be good for the summertime, so I'm kind of waiting to burn it until then. Smells nice and spicy. And I know in this size of glass specifically, she includes these little charms. There's a little boat in there. Once I actually burn down to that, I might actually remove it, clean it up, and put it on a necklace. She also sells them in these little sampler sizes. I know she does these as like wedding favors, which I think is such a cool idea. Makes me wish I had a wedding. This one is based off of The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. It is soda pop smelling. It definitely smells like a cream soda. This one is based off of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. It is a pickled limes scent, and it smells very citrusy, but also salty. So I really like to burn this one in the kitchen. You can see I've already tucked into this one. And besides the lavender and lilac candle I just showed you and I showed off in my reading room tour, this is probably the one I've been burning the second most frequently. And it's only a sampler, so I might have to order a full size of this. It's based off of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and the scent is called Gardens of Pemberley. It has this really powdery yet floral scent to it. Like it really, really smells like spring. So yeah, these are super great quality. I love these, not just because they're a Pittsburgh-based business, not just because I know the owner, but because I think they're genuinely fantastic. I have these kind of spread out all over the house, depending on what scent it is in what room. Like I said, I use one in the kitchen. I have one in my sunroom downstairs. I keep this one up here in this room. Oh, it just smells so good. Also, in true book nerd fashion, I've been drinking a ton of tea lately. I think it's a combination of I don't have anything better to do and I don't want to just be snacking the whole day long. And also, it's been really cold here in Pittsburgh, so it's nice to just have a warm beverage on me at all times. And after a certain point in the day, I have to stop drinking coffee or else I won't sleep at night. Also, because I've been home a lot more frequently, I've actually been using a lot of my loose leaf teas. I would never bring those into the office. It's just too messy. There are things to wash. So I would mainly use tea bags in the office, but I'm home now. so I can use my loose leaf teas. The only problem was that some of those were old because I was using them very infrequently, so I had to throw some of those away. And so the remaining ones I had went extremely fast and I needed to order more. So I was scrolling through my email fairly recently and I saw I got this email newsletter from this craft and tea store that I visited a very long time ago. I apparently signed up for their newsletter. Even though the store is closed, they're still doing some online orders and they had some sales going on. So I thought it would be a two birds, one stone kind of thing where I can support a small business and also get some more tea, which I need. I'll show you two of the bags that I got. I think I got a total of 4, but these are definitely my 2 favorites, the ones I've been reaching for the most frequently. The first one is a black tea. It is pineapple upside down cake. It contains black tea, cran raisins, sugar, cherry juice, elderberry juice, pineapple bits, safflowers, calendula petals, white corn flowers, and flavor. I don't know how this shop does it, but this tastes like a baked good. It actually tastes like a pineapple upside down cake. It's extremely comforting, great for when you're craving something sweet, but you don't actually want to eat something sweet. The second one I'm going to show you is an herbal tea. Like I kind of implied before, I try to stay away from caffeine after a certain point in the day, normally around 1 p.m. Otherwise, I have problems with sleeping. Not falling asleep. So all those tips and tricks of like how to get yourself to fall asleep, none of that helps me because my problem is maintaining sleep. I am so intensely, like down to my pores, jealous of people who can wake up in the middle of the night, as we all do several different times in the middle of the night, look at the clock, see it's like 3:25 a.m. and say, forget that, I'm going back to sleep. That's not an option for me. If that happens to me anytime after 3 a.m., I am awake. I typically go on to have a pretty rough day after that. Naps make me feel really strange. So yeah, it's very important that I do as much as I can to make sure that doesn't happen. All of that to say that this is coconut chamomile and I really like it. It of course has chamomile, tart cherries, apples, and cranberries. It's really perfect for later in the evening when I want a hot beverage or a beverage of some kind and I don't want to interrupt my sleep. And then in terms of what I've been listening to lately, in those moments where I don't want to have an audiobook going or a podcast or a booktube video, I just want to listen to some music, I've most frequently been turning to a Spotify playlist that I made for myself a couple months back. I had realized that I had never before put together all of my favorite songs in one place, and I thought that was a problem. I spent a whole morning laying the foundation for that playlist, and I've just been adding to it as more songs come to mind. It has been so nice to just be able to put that playlist on shuffle and know that I'm going to like every single song. It's not like a Pandora station where I might not like them. So if I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to have things all over my hands, hence all the hand washing, then I know that I don't have to skip songs. If I have that playlist on though, you just like can't be around me. I am singing or dancing. I love all of those songs. So I'm just like intolerable. I'll leave a link to that playlist in the description box below in case you want to give it a listen. Just know that my music taste is pretty much as eclectic as my reading taste, so it is all over the place. But if I'm not looking to get too energized, I just want to have something simple on that I can just relax to or have something on when I'm reading, then I turn to jazz hop / chill hop. There are different things that people call it, but it is a mixture of jazz and hip hop beats, and it's like the single most relaxing thing. There are 2 YouTube channels that I turn to the most for this type of music. There's the Jazz Hop Cafe and there's Fear Dog. I will link them down below, but I love the mixes that they put together. They're very long, so I can just put one on and know that I'm good for music for like an hour and a half. I highly recommend that music to read to because the vast majority of the songs don't have lyrics. It is just instrumental, so it's not going to distract you from what you're reading. To me, there is absolutely nothing better than having one of those mixes on when I'm down in my sunroom, my cat's in my lap, I have a nice mug of tea, and I'm reading a book. All of those things combined is like the perfect day. I've also been watching some more movies lately. I know I've mentioned it on this channel before, but I'm not the biggest movie watcher. I don't know why, but I have like commitment issues when it comes to sitting down to watch like a 2-hour movie. I much prefer TV shows where, you know, they're a half hour, an hour long, and I can stop after one of those episodes. I don't have such a huge time chunk that I'm just giving over to something. But I realized recently that there's all this pop culture that I'm completely missing out on because I refuse to sit down and dedicate time to a movie. So if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen that I make these seasonal lists for myself of movies I want to get through during that season. I think there are normally 10 or 12 of them. I'm the kind of person who responds really well to a list. I love making a good list. I love crossing things off of that list. Give me a list and I will complete the things on it. So I have been watching more movies simply just because I have that list, but also I've started using Hoopla, which is a library streaming service. For whatever reason, I use so many other library e-resources, but I had never really started using Hoopla until recently. But there are so many good movies on there. There are a ton of different book to movie adaptations that I want to watch that I have on my favorites list, kind of ready to go. And one I watched recently that I cannot recommend enough is Words and Pictures. It stars Juliette Binoche and Clive Owen. It's a very academia type movie and I just gobble those up. Juliette Binoche and Clive Owen play teachers. Clive Owen is a literature teacher. Juliette Binoche has just arrived at the school. She's going to be their new art teacher. And they start having this very gentle war between them about what medium is most effective in communicating a message. Is it words or is it pictures? Hence the title. There is, of course, a romance between the teachers as well. That's kind of unavoidable since it is a movie after all. But I thought it was just brilliant. I thought the writing was so clever. It was so enjoyable to watch. Tony watched it with me. He really liked it as well. We were both so shocked to find out that it has a very low Rotten Tomatoes score. I don't understand that. This is why I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. But speaking of Tony, my husband, let me talk about the final thing in this favorites video. Tony and I have been spending so much time playing this recently. It is a board game and it is called Wingspan. We bought this game about a year ago, I'm ashamed to admit, and it's only been recently that we've started to get into it because we finally know how to play it. It is a little bit complicated. You have your own board and you're trying to put bird cards down on your board, but each different bird has a different food cost. As you start to stack birds, they also have an egg cost, but you also get some cool effects. Once those birds start to stack by like the fourth round, you're really starting to accumulate resources and get a lot more cool birds. It's really hard to explain. You almost have to see it. So I will put a couple of links in the description box below to videos of people actually playing this. Not only is this super fun to play, but everything in this box is super high quality. I almost forget sometimes how poorly made things are until I can see and feel something that's actually quality. Like even this box is super high quality. I love looking at all the bird cards, seeing all the different types of birds. It shows you what region they live in. It gives you a fun fact about them. I actually got the expansion pack because I wanted even more birds. So yeah, Tony and I play 1 or 2 games of this pretty much every night if we have time to, and it's a really nice thing that we've been able to do together. So those are some things I've been enjoying lately, some things that have been making this period of isolation a whole lot more tolerable. If you have any comments or questions about anything you've seen in this video or about anything in general, please feel free to put that in the comment section below. But if you'd prefer to reach out to me somewhere other than YouTube, I am on a variety of different places on social media, and the links to all of my profiles will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.